don't smoke crack, motherfucker, I sell it.
Welcome back, y'all. This is the Miscellaneous Minds Podcast. I'm your host, Jesus Dinero, here with my co-host,
Puma El Gato.
What do we got going on tonight, my man?
DDP now 2-0 against Sean Strickland for the middleweight championship. Let's talk about it.
So, as a lot of you saw, I'm sure DDP cruised his way to a unanimous decision win over Sean Strickland. He busted his nose in the fourth round, breaking it. Was confirmed by Sean Strickland as well. And by all accounts, by everybody stating, it kind of looks like there was no sense of urgency in Sean Strickland. It seems like maybe there was no fire, as DDP was stacking up them rounds. It just seems like, I don't know if Sean felt defeated. I don't know what it was. He just didn't have that giddy up in him. And it's sad to see, but you know what? It is what it is. I personally have a love-hate relationship with Sean Strickland. There's times where I think he comes out and he says very logical, very valid, very clear things. There's other times where the man is having a Kanye-like crash out and saying the dumbest things alive on the planet. But regardless, he earned his title shot. He lost. He's now 2-0 against DDP. And at this point, I'm not going to lie. It's going to be the back of the line for the man, and I think, unfortunately for him, that could potentially be his last crack at the title. The reason I say that is because as long as DDP is champion, I don't think anyone's going to want to see a third match. Based on what some of you said on the previous video that we did about this fight, some people didn't even want to see this fight. That's based on some of the comments y'all were putting on there. So they didn't even want a second fight with him. So I'd be hard-pressed to see the UFC wanting to make a third fight between these guys if Sean Strickland was to earn another shot. That being said, there's a number of questions to ask here. What's next for DDP? There's been a little bit of talk between him and Hamzat. There's been a little bit of talk between him and Pereira. A number of different things. And if I'm being honest with you, I honestly don't really care where he goes. If I'm being honest with you, I'm not the highest on DDP stock as a fighter. He's not a bad fighter. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with him. It just, I don't know. He's not like a real exciting fighter for me. I'm sure like a lot of you guys feel about Bilal and such. I feel the same way about DDP. Yes, he's a little bit more dynamic, obviously, than a Bilal. But I don't know, man. There's not a whole lot of charisma in my eyes. There's not a whole lot of technique in the fight. There's not a whole lot to get me excited. And I'm not hating on DDP, man. DDP seems like a nice guy. Seems like a good person. But as far as who he can face next, it is what it is. This actually presents a little bit of a I guess, difficult time for Dana White in the UFC because there's a number of fighters where people are basically saying that a lot of people that are boring fighters are champions. People call Merab boring, which I highly disagree with. People call Bilal a boring, which I kind of agree with. I think DDP is a little boring. Can't say Pereira's boring. Can't say Ilya's boring. I don't think John's boring, but obviously there's a lull, a big lull between his fights. So that division gets a little backed up and boring. So yeah, man, there's a number of things, unfortunately, that are becoming issues for the UFC and Dana White. So it's definitely going to be an interesting thing to see where they go. Again, there's not much to say. DDP took it to a unanimous decision win. I think most of the judges gave him 4 rounds. I think one judge gave DDP 3 rounds. But again, still unanimous decision win. We'll see how it goes, man. Unfortunately, I think that might have been Sean Strickland's last crack at the title. But what do you think about that, my man?
The first fight definitely was a little bit uncharacteristic of Sean Strickland. Now I kind of want to recant my statement and say, you know what? He's actually kind of on par for Sean Strickland. And you know what? Again, this is me coming into the saying Sean Strickland is at minimum a competent fighter, and at best he's a good fighter. But the thing is, when it's in high-level moments like this, you can't help but feel at least a little bit frustrated when Sean Strickland is selling this fight to the fucking moon and back, and then come to this and you're like, all right, cool. So it was a UD, and you ended up getting your nose cracked against the wrestler, mind you. Which that in and of itself is kind of insane. If you see DDP's striking, I'm like, at best that's nothing to write home about. At worst, I'm like, what am I looking at here? And look, man, again, Sean Strickland's job, I guess he has multiple facets of his job. I guess one of them that he does fulfill is that he does sell the fights, which, look, I'll give him credit where credit due. He does sell the fights. I can't fault him for that. But to go in there and basically promise none of what you tried to promise on the fight presser, I'm like, what am I doing this year? At this point, anytime Sean Strickland comes on, I'm like, okay, cool. What kind of fight am I gonna get from Sean Strickland? Am I gonna get a banger, or am I just gonna get basically a bathroom break match? And look, I understand to a point that if you're feeling pressure during the entire fight, you might feel a little discouraged. But even as coaches, and this was, I remember seeing this with the Sugar Sean fight against Marab. They told him, I think it was after the third round. They told him, like, dog, we're losing the round. You're gonna have to get desperate. And guess what? Fourth fight in, guess what he was doing? This, guarding and playing it safe and teetering in, edging and not doing anything really worth of note. And again, it's the same frustrating thing watching the Sean O'Malley fight. Dog, you're losing. Do something, please. The championship's gonna get out of your hands. And guess what? They try and play it safe. I'm like, dog, you can't play it safe anymore. You're losing. There is no safe. Again, it's frustrating as a bit of a Sean Strickland fan, but look, at this point, I don't really see anything higher for him. Unless, like, I could see one more fight, and if he kind of flounders that one, I'm pretty sure he might get relegated to fight nights, which, again, it's a shame, but again, that's what happens when you overpromise and underdeliver. It's a shame, but it is what it is.
Yeah, man. I think at this juncture, you know, we've had too many people that have come around over and over to the top of the pyramid in the middleweight division. You know, Robert Whittaker's gotten a few cracks at the middleweight title. Sean's now gotten 2 chances at the middleweight title. Adesanya, you know, he's relegated to fight nights, as you stated a second ago. You know, all the usual suspects. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like, you know, there's not a whole lot of excitement on who gets to crack next. The only real person that's I guess bringing a little bit of excitement to it, at least as far as the MMA world and buzz, is Khamzat Chimaev. You know, he just obviously defeated Robert Whittaker in phenomenal fashion for him, because he did it, you know, so quickly, which even I was surprised. I actually thought Robert Whittaker was going to win the fight, but you know, it is what it is. And then of course, you know, there's been a little bit of back and forth between him and Alex Pereira, and everybody knows Alex Pereira is a super exciting fighter, so no one's gonna fight that fight being made. So yeah, man, it'll be interesting to see what happens in the middleweight division. There's no clear cut other than, I guess, Khamzat on who should be next. That'll be interesting to see if that's the one that happens. According to Dana White, it's going to be Khamzat. So we'll see how it goes. It'll be interesting. We just wanted to give you guys that quick update, obviously, on the Sean Strickland and DDP fight. It is what it is, man. It happened. It's over. Unfortunately, Sean back of the line, and I highly doubt he's going to get another shot anytime soon. And with that, make sure to like, comment, hate, subscribe, DM us about the bullshit, and
Until next time, get rest and stay blessed. We'll see you in the next one.